My name is Tom Vondriska, and I'm a professor of anesthesiology and perioperative medicine, cardiology, and physiology, as well as a member of the Molecular Biology Institute at UCLA. My training is in cardiovascular physiology and systems biology, and for the past 20 years, my research lab has focused on the problem of heart failure, which is a chronic disease that affects approximately 6 million Americans. Heart failure is a condition where the heart cannot meet the oxygen demands of the body. The contributing factors range from genetics to environment and lifestyle conditions. Up until the early 2000s, most heart failure cases arose from people who had initially had a heart attack. And while heart attacks are still a major clinical problem, the syndrome of heart failure has greatly evolved over the past 20 to 30 years due to changes in how doctors treat heart attack patients, as well as the increasing prevalence of obesity and high blood pressure or hypertension in the patient population. The result is that therapies that worked for heart failure until the 1990s and early 2000s no longer work in a large portion of heart failure patients today. Our lab has therefore shifted the focus of our research over the past few years to focus on this new changing disease burden, to try to discover new therapies and cures for this syndrome that affects millions of Americans and has a 5-year survival rate of less than 50%. A common cause of heart failure is something called cardiac fibrosis, where the presence of maladaptive extracellular material causes a stiffening of the heart muscle. In this scenario, the failing heart cannot contract or relax well, which causes a host of symptoms such as lung congestion, debilitating exhaustion, and a higher risk for life-threatening cardiac arrhythmias. This is really the crux of the problem. If we can find a way to reduce or reverse the expansion of this cardiac fibrosis, we can have a potentially life-changing impact on the lives of these patients. Our unique solution to this problem is by targeting a specific type of cell in the heart called a fibroblast. Now, the job of a fibroblast is to make extracellular matrix, which is important for the healing of wounds, but which can become maladaptive and cause disease. We discovered that a protein called Histone H1, which is responsible for the organization of something called chromatin in the cell, plays an essential role for the production of fibrosis. Our approach depletes Histone H1 in fibroblasts, thereby interrupting this fibrosis generation action of these cells. Now, most importantly, we've shown that depleting Histone H1 in fibroblasts doesn't hurt the cell. It doesn't influence the normal behavior of these cells in the heart. It only targets the fibrosis. We've demonstrated our findings in disease models of heart failure, including in vivo models of cardiac fibrosis. We think this project has tremendous potential for an entirely new class of therapies to inhibit maladaptive cardiac fibrosis in the setting of heart failure. We've identified and validated the molecular mechanisms of a novel therapeutic target, and we've demonstrated that in vivo targeting of Histone H1 is sufficient to prevent heart failure in a mouse model. The initial work that led to this project was supported by funding from the National Institutes of Health and most recently by a competitive grant that was awarded by the UCLA Technology Development Group's Innovation Fund to advance this technology to the next level. The next step in this project is to further develop our intellectual property around the in vivo targeting of Histone H1 depletion. We are eager to engage partners and investors to support the development of this novel technology, which will require testing in larger animal models as a next step to prove its potential for translation to humans. This novel therapeutic approach also holds potential to treat fibrosis in other organs beyond the heart and represents a completely new class of therapies. And given the increasing incidence of fibrotic diseases, which affect millions of people in the United States alone, this novel class of therapies represents an enormous investment opportunity and a truly promising new treatment for heart failure. Thank you.